Hi everyone, it's Rebecca here and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, how are you doing? Today's video is a tired one. It's Friday night, no it's not, it's Thursday night. It's Thursday night, it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and I decided I want to film, so filming is what I'm doing. Today I'm bringing you a unhaul, basically, because all of these books I've been hauling, I have nowhere to put them. As you can see from these two piles here, these are actually I can never get that right there we go. These two piles here are sideways on because I can't fit as many books on my shelf lengthways as I would like to because I have too many books. So I am getting rid of some. Now a good chunk of these haven't been on my shelves for a while, but I also have a maybe pile, so I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll do the maybe pile at the end and then maybe you can help me out a little bit. So without further ado, we're just going to jump straight into the books I'm unhauling. This is going to be split into three parts. We've got the maybe pile at the end, we're going to have the unread, and the red's going to be in the middle. So if there are any books on here that are your favourites, please know that I mean no harm. I just don't want them on my shelves anymore, or I didn't like them, or they could go to better homes than me because I'm never going to pick them up, that kind of thing. So the first one we have here is literally being getting rid of because it's a duplicate, and that is The Taking of Annie Thorne by C.J. Tudor. But this one I did pick up second hand, and it turns out that I'd already picked it up second hand because I can't keep track of my books. This is part of the problem. Next one is the one that I started ages ago, and I'm keeping a hold of it, but I feel like I should just get rid of it. And the reason I'm keeping a hold of it is because that is a Euro sticker. I bought this when I was on holiday one year, and I have a weird attachment to things that I buy on holiday because they're like little memories. But to be honest with you, I started this one on said holiday, got 10 pages into it, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I have no idea what's going on, so I'm going to get rid of it. So I should probably get me my little bookmark back. I have no idea what Slade House is about, to be honest. It sounded quite intriguing. I think it's a boy comes across a house down the side of a street, and it's a bit of a mysterious house. I don't know, and I didn't care, so that's why it's being getting rid of, and this is quite rambly. Next up is a one that you're going to see an author of a couple of times, and that is Ghost by James Swallow. I read I Am Pilgrim by Scott Hayes, I think it was, and at the same time as that, James Swallow was coming out with quite a few books, and he was quite well known and quite renowned. And this one is basically, imagine the Bourne series, like MI6 are onto this guy that doesn't know why MI6 are onto him at first. That is what this book basically sounds like. So I haven't actually read it. I was a little bit in two minds about it. I was like, you know what, I am going to keep it, but then that was in my last round of unhauls, so I've decided I am getting rid of it. And I'm also getting rid of, please don't fall, Nomad by the same author. This one follows the aftermath of a terrorist attack, and I don't know, I feel like at the time of me reading I Am Pilgrim, I really enjoyed that. It was a big chunk of a book, but I was like, I want all of the bio-warfare kind of books. But now, like, that's dangerous. Like, that, for me, feels like it's a bit too not good. So I'm getting rid of these two. I know for a fact that wherever I drop them off, be it a charity shop, put them up for sale on swap sites, whatever, I know that whoever picks these up is actually going to really love them, because you won't know James Swallow as such unless you know about other books similar to this genre. So hopefully these get picked up by somebody who loves the author. I need to stop rambling, my god. Next up we have Light Years by Cass Morgan. This one, did I get this one as an ARC? I did. I got this one as an ARC like 2 years ago. It came in one of the book subscription boxes, and it was around, I think it might have actually been in the Aurora Rising box, I'm not sure, but I picked this one up, as I said, from a book subscription box, and when I read the back I was like, that is what I need in my life right now. Give me all the Aurora Rising vibes, and I didn't read it. This follows, it's the first book in a thrilling and romantic new sci-fi series from the best-selling author of the 100. Funnily enough, I picked up the 100 and it sat on my shelf for the best part of 3 years before I finally got rid of it. This follows the Quattro Fleet Academy, which is finally admitting students from every planet in the solar system after centuries of exclusivity. I can't do the words today. Basically, this, I imagine, follows a ragtag crew who have to save the world. That's the vibes I'm getting because of the fact that it was out around the same time as Aurora Rising, and it was very much, it wasn't hyped, but it was very much like, oh, you sound the same, let's stick you in that box too. So I'm getting rid of this one. Next up we have The Girl with a Clock for a Heart by Peter Swanson. This one featured in my Try a Tag unhaul edition, and I was like, oh, that premise sounds really, really good. Since then I have not picked this up, therefore it's gone. Next up is Trance by Adam Southwood. This one is an ARC, came out in July last year. I believe it's can't fight, you have no control. It's about a man who has the ability to control your mind, and what you do is down to what he orders you to do. Your mind is not your own, therefore he can do whatever he wants, and by the sounds of it, it's not very good. I'm imagining murder, I'm imagining assault. Apparently this is his revenge and he's only just begun, so I'm not that bothered about reading this. I have to be in a certain frame of mind for thrillers, and this one I just haven't been in the frame of mind for. Next up we have a one that I just feel is very much a case of I don't care, and that is The Novice by Taryn Matheru. I picked this one up because I think it was like some new release of his that was coming out, and I think it was like further on in the series, and I needed to read book one to read the rest. So I said no at first, and then I picked up book one, and story of my life, haven't read. It follows Fletcher, who's an orphan that discovers he has a rare ability to summon demons from another world. Why would you summon demons from another world? Why did I pick that up? I don't understand why I picked that up. I'm rambling, I'm tired. Next up we have The Silence by Tim Leben. This one I picked up because of all the hype around Bird Box. I like the idea with the thriller aspect where one of the senses is taken away and you have to rely on the other senses to survive. So I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Watched an advert for it, crap myself. I was like, I'd rather read the book first, then I know it's not as scary, and then I just didn't read the book. I mean, premise is really, really good. It follows Ali, who is deaf. Now, because she's deaf, she's used to the silence, but nobody else is when the silence actually arrives. So the silence follows blind creatures that hunt by sound. Like, they belong in an underground cave system. For some reason they get out of this cave system, and because of all the noise from the rest of the world, they just go wild and kill everybody, eat everybody. They thrive and destroy apparently. So this follows Ali and her family, whose only chance of survival is learning from Ali, because Ali is used to the deafness and the silence and relying on her other senses to be able to pick up other things around her. The premise is really, really good, and if you have watched this, let me know what it was like, but I feel like I'm not that bothered anymore. I think it was because it's Stanley Tucci as well, and I was like, Kingsman, hello, hello. I mean, obviously he's done other things. He's also the guy who says hello really loudly in View Cinemas if you're in the UK, just in case you didn't know. Rebecca should not film these things when she's tired. That's my maybe pile. That's why that was on there. That was my maybe pile. Rebecca's just ruining things. Anyway, next up we have Snowdrops by A.D. Miller. This one is a one that I've picked up before and got rid of, and then picked it up again, and I'm not bothered anymore. It's a Russian war spy book. I've never been interested in Russian spies. So why have I picked this up? I don't know. I go through phases of picking up things that I'm like, oh, this sounds really good, and then just buying all of the genre or reading something such as The I Am Pilgrim, and then picking up Nomad and Ghost and also Swallow, but Swallow's brand new out, and sorry, not Swallow, Shadow, the author is James Swallow, but that's like pretty much brand new out, as in I bought that in my honeymoon in 2018. It's 2020, it's not new out, Rebecca, it's 2020. But anyway, that's the most recent release as far as I know, but yeah, I go on a spree where I just buy everything like related to that, and after I'd read Salt to the Sea and Kate Furnivall's books, I was like, Russian spies sounds interesting, and I just haven't read it yet, so it's going. I don't care anymore, to be honest. And the next one, I picked this one up more so I was having a pity party for myself when I went food shopping one week a few years ago. That is The Girl Who Came Out of the Woods by Emily Barr. This one had a lot of interest on Bookstagram. I mean, can you blame it? Because look at that cover, it is just so pretty. But this follows Artie, who has lived in India all her life in the Hidden Hills, and a deadly plague is threatening her survival, and basically she gets told, you must go find this person, they are your family, blah de blah de blah. So then she has to come out of the woods, find her family, survive a plague, and pretend like everything's normal, I'm assuming. I'm just not bothered. Like, even when I picked it up at the time, I picked it up because of the Bookstagram hype, and I just haven't read it yet. I mean, I feel like this is a YA. It's the author's third YA novel, the first one being The One Memory of Flora Banks, and then we also have The Truth and Lies of Ella Black. So that was what kind of triggered me as well, as like I recognise the name, but I'm just not bothered. I mean, I'm sure it's a lovely book. I'm sure it's beautiful, you know, plagues and stuff, but no. Next up is going to be is it a surprise? I mean, all the bad press around this author at the minute, but I already have a copy of this. I have a paperback copy, and this one was actually gifted to me by my in-laws. but I have a paperback copy, so I don't want the hardback anymore. And I'm being really quiet because that sounds really horrible and ungrateful, but it's not that I'm ungrateful, it's just that I have nowhere really to keep it. And that is Lethal White by Robert Galbraith, aka the Turf Master 2K20. But anyway, petition to call her that, it makes her sound like a supervillain. I really like this series, which is a really difficult thing, is that I didn't think I would like it and I absolutely loved it so much. I love this series so much, and I hate the fact that this author has just gone and done all of it, said all of the things, and I can't cope with that. Like, I totally get why people still love, like, I still love Harry Potter because of the nostalgia aspect, but I also see that it is problematic because, for example, Parvati and Padma, Cho Chang, Seamus, Seamus blows things up, and he's the only person in the series that blows things up. And yeah, I do see loads of issues with it, but at the same time, the nostalgia fact, I'm always going to be like, oh my god, I love Harry Potter, and I already have all of the books for that, so I'm not going to be investing any more money in that series unless I find things secondhand and it's in a charity shop, and then such as special editions and stuff, and then the money goes to a charity. But this one, I absolutely loved. The 4th installment, and the 5th one comes out in September, and I'm absolutely gutted that I'm gonna have to wait until it comes out secondhand, because I really do like this series. I love Strike and Robin's dynamic throughout the whole series. If you don't know, Cormoran Strike is a detective in London. He is a private detective, and he is not the best liked kind of person. Imagine Sherlock, but very much more manly without the mysterious workings of the brain, and Robin is his Watson. That's the easiest way I can kind of describe it, I would believe. But I really like this series. I just don't have room for this, so that's why I'm getting rid of it. Next up, we have one that's been on my read pile for a while, and that is We All Looked Up by Tommy Wallach. We are now on to the red books, by the way. This is We All Looked Up by Tommy Wallach. This follows a group of 4 people around an asteroid, from what I remember. It lasts 2 months, and then from what I understand, it lasts longer or it lasts less. I can't really remember, but either way, it was okay when I read it. I think at the time that I read it, I really enjoyed it, and that's probably right because I was younger, but now I'm not bothered. It's taking up valuable shelf space. Oh my god. It's taking up valuable shelf space, and there is no way on this earth that this is this generation's The Stand, because it's about 1,000 pages too short. Next up, we have a one that I read earlier this year, and it was such a mindfuck. Like, I read it and I was like, what the hell have I just read? And that is Nod by Adrian Barnes. I really wanted to read this on its release. I finally managed to find it secondhand, picked it up, read it in quite a short space of time for me, actually, and I spent the whole time going, what on earth just happened? Why am I reading this? And this follows a world where sleep just does not exist. I mean, right now I'm like dying on my feet. I need my sleep, so God help me if sleep ceases to exist. Basically, there's some sort of plague or virus that stops people going to sleep. There are only a select few that can still sleep, and this follows a man and woman who are a couple who then come across a young girl. At first, you know, they can both sleep, and then the wife stops sleeping, and it's about this husband who has to decide what he wants to do in terms of, does he live with his wife who is no longer sleeping? What happens to the child, because they've kind of like took this child under their wing? Is the wife going to go clinically insane because the psychosis sets in? So basically, you stop sleeping, you have the insomnia, you think it's going to go away, it doesn't go away, it turns into full-blown psychosis, and then you kill yourself. The husband obviously is sleeping, and you watch the paranoia of the insomnia and things like that. It's very psychologically enthralling is the word I want to say. But things happened in this, and I was like, why has it took that route? What possessed the author to take it down the route they took it down? To the point where I finished and I was like, is that it? Like, there's so much more that could have happened that didn't happen. It felt very, what the hell? Like, that's the easiest way to say it, is if you want a psychological thriller that is going to mess with your mind, this is for you. Next up is the most recent read on this list. Oh my god, my words. And that is Final Girls by Riley Sager. This one follows 3 girls who are all deemed the final girls, who are basically the sole survivors of these horrific events that occur. Follow our main character is the most recent of the final girls, and she was the only person to survive out of all of her friends in an attack on a log cabin where they stayed in the middle of the woods in a remote situation. Follow Quincy as she's come to terms with the fact that she just wants to lead a normal life, and then one of the final girls comes back, and then another final girls turns up dead. So we follow those, and I felt like, as this was my first Riley Sager novel, I felt gravely disappointed. The way that everybody hypes up Riley Sager, I felt like it was going to be much more than what it was. It wasn't. I was kind of sad about that. I mean, this one, I get the impression that not a lot of people highly rate this one compared to the rest of the thrillers. I don't know if I've just picked a bad one, but I'm getting rid of it because ultimately I'm not bothered. It says if you like Gone Girl, you'll like this. Stephen King. I didn't like Gone Girl. It was already a bad sign for me anyway. Next up, I'm kind of gutted about this one because I really enjoyed the first thing I read by this author, but this is Havenfall by Sarah Holland. This is the exclusive Illumicrate edition. It is signed, well, there's a book plate in it that I think I haven't actually put in quite straight, it's quite wonky, and it also has one of these ribbon bookmarks. So this follows a young girl who travels to Havenfall to stay with her grandma. How do I word this without spoiling it? It follows Mad, who knows that Havenfall is more than it seems. So underneath this inn there are 3 realms. They have the gates to the realms under this inn, and it's basically about what happens when things collide between those 3 inns. I can't really remember. I read this in literally like 24 hours, so I was really proud of myself for reading it within 24 hours, but I'm just not bothered. It was a 3-star, it was a mid-range 3-star. I was very disappointed actually because I really loved Everless when I read it. Go back. And this is stunning. Like, why do stunning books do this to me? Stunning books that I end up hating. What is wrong with me? But I'm thinking of potentially giving this to a friend or doing a UK giveaway. I don't know yet, or just selling it. I still do not know. Next up, I DNF'd Fangirl. Like, I'm not even gonna, like, you know, build up the anticipation to this one. I DNF'd Fangirl because I didn't like it. I read Kindred Spirits, I want to say. I think I might have got rid of it. Which is a Star Wars novella or something, and it was quite cute. It was well booked. It was only £1. It wasn't a waste of my money. I quite enjoyed it, to be honest. But I'd been meaning to pick up Rainbow Rowell's work, so then I picked up Fangirl, and I think the issue is with this is that I read this like 6 years too late. I graduated oh my god, I graduated 6 years ago. I read this 6 years too late, basically. Uni me would have loved this. First year uni me certainly would have, and that's 9 years ago, 8 years ago. Oh my god, 9 years ago. Uni me would have absolutely loved this. Follows Kath and Ren, which who are twins who go to university. I just realised that Kath and Ren make Catherine, but that's by the by. Really, the mother didn't know that she was expecting 2 and had picked Catherine as one of the names. But anyway, bigger plot happening. Follow Kath and Ren, who are used to being stuck to each other like glue. One writes fan fiction, the other, I don't know what the other does, I didn't get that far into it. All I know is that they start university and they're gradually drifting apart, and university me, as I said, would have loved this. If you're starting university, going through university, this will be really relatable. As a 27 to 28 year old woman, I don't care. So yeah, I made it about 20 pages into it and was like, nah. Next up is a one that I'm absolutely good about because this was on my wish list. It was a wish list present off my beautiful best friend, Vanessa. This in no way reflects my friendship or anything like that, but it's an Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. I really wanted to like this. Honestly, I'm heartbroken that I don't like it. It's just, I feel like it was just too whimsical. I feel like whilst it was too whimsical and lyrical, it wasn't fleshed out enough. Like, I feel like the author spent so much time getting the lyrical prose in place that she forgot to flesh other things out that could have been fleshed out. But yes, this one follows a young girl who is a prodigy portrait artist, and she gets hired for a fair. And in this face painting, she paints emotion in this face's eyes. And the whole point of a fair painting is that you don't convey emotion. She basically gets sentenced to exile, I believe it is. I think it is. Basically, she gets sentenced, gets taken away, kind of on the run for a while with this man named Rook, who has more powers than meets the eye. The easiest way to describe it, I feel like it was very wordy for what it was. Like, she spent like 3 pages describing this one thing, and then it kind of jumped a little bit to a different period, and I was like, I'm so confused. But I think that was just me. I am absolutely gutted that I didn't enjoy this one. I really wanted to, and I'm so sorry, Vanessa, because I know that you bought me this as a gift. I just didn't enjoy it. Next up is a signed edition from an Illumicrate box, Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. There's a sticky note in this. What did I write on this sticky note? Oh, okay. Page 2. This was my sticky note for page 2 of this book. Digs at Harry Potter dress-up costume, the chosen one, cringe. And this was, sorry, chapter 2, page 10. Cringe. There was so many Harry Potter references in this, it just... This follows 2 young boys, Brighton and Emil. They're brothers. They live in a world where there are a group of superheroes, like the Avengers basically, go out and save the world. And there's apparently a thing where by the time you're 16, you could have powers too, and if you don't have this certain thing happen at 16 years old, you don't have powers. So we follow these 2 brothers. One really wants the powers, the other really doesn't. The first one, who really wants the powers, also is like a vlogger with a YouTube channel that is very, very ungrateful for what he has when he should realise that he should treasure what he has. The other just doesn't care. He's not bothered at all. He would rather live his life happily without ever having to come into contact with anyone with powers. What happens? Brother number 2 gets powers. This was just, for me, a massive cringe. It was a massive dig at Harry Potter in the beginning. I know that the author meant well. You can tell that the author meant well, but I just felt like there was too much. Like, I remember speaking to friends about this and saying, this is going to be a Harry Potter ripoff. I'm not happy. If you want more thoughts and feelings on this, I would recommend Gav from How to Train Your Gavin's channel. He did a dedicated video to this, and everything that he said was so right, and I felt so awful for the author. This is the first time I picked up Adam Silvera's work. I feel so awful that I feel that way, but at the same time, how was it not picked up on that this was very much a dig at Harry Potter in some aspects and a rolly eye situation for a lot of people? And how is this a trilogy? Wow, I really wanted to like this book, and now I'm having to get rid of a signed book, and I don't know how I feel about that. Well, I do know how I feel about that. I'm kind of annoyed. Last one is the one that was sent to me by a publisher, and this is a finished copy, I believe. That is Spare and Found Parts by Sarah Maria Griffin. Picked this one up off the back of Cinder, which is the Lunar Chronicles. This follows Nell, who is the only person in this world of cyborgs whose mechanical pieces are on the inside. She has a mechanical heart, everybody else has mechanical limbs. Her dad is the creator of said mechanical limbs, and we follow Nell as she is trying to live up to the expectation of being this world-renowned man's daughter when she has to then put a project forward herself. She is wanting to build a companion in a world that fears technology. I don't know how to describe this book. It was a middle of the range book for me. It was like 3 stars, 3.5 stars. It was good. The premise was really, really good. It just fell a little flat for me, which is a shame because I did, as I said, really enjoy the premise. This is my maybe pile. As I said before, The Silence is on there by Tim Levin, so we'll get rid of that one. Next up, we have 2 Kate Atkinson books. We have Life After Life and A God in Ruins. These 2 I picked up. I do actually like the sound of these. Like, I've read the back of them again when I was going through my shelves again, and I was like, you know what, I do actually quite like the sound of these. I just don't know when I'm going to get around to them. So this one follows, it's based in 1910 England, and it is during the snowstorm. A baby is born and dies before she can take her first breath. In a snowstorm in England in 1910, the same baby is born and lives to tell the tale. What if there were second chances and third chances? In fact, an infinite number of chances to live your life. Would you eventually be able to save the world from its own inevitable destiny, and would you even want to? Multiple timelines of the same timeline. Like, that's what I'm excited about, the perspective aspect of that one. And then A God in Ruins is, that's a good question. Follows the life of Teddy Todd, would-be poet, heroic World War II bomber pilot, husband, father and grandfather, as he navigates the perils and progress of the 20th century. While he endures in battle, his greatest challenge will be to face living in a future that he never expected to have. And this follows the fall of man from grace, the effect it has, and the lives of the subsequent generations. And this follows a character who is in this one. So yeah, I'm not too sure how I feel about these 2. Next up we have City on Fire by Garth Risk-Hallberg. This one I kept seeing in charity shops, and I was like, I really, really want to pick it up. It follows 9 lives about to be changed forever on midnight, New Year's Eve 1976. Literally all I knew about it. There's a shooting in Central Park on New Year's Eve, and on July the 13th, 1977, the lights go out. I don't know, I feel like there's going to be a lot to this one, so I feel like it might be too complex for my little brain. My little brain just rattles around in my head. And the last one, finally the last one. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This quick unhauls turned into like half an hour of rambling, and it's so warm in here. By the way, this is the way they both die at the end by Adam Silvera, because, you know, Infinity. So I don't know what I want to do about this one, because this one gives you the title, gives you the plot in the title, unless they don't both die at the end, and then that's just a lie. It follows basically the concept of you get given a text on the morning you're going to die saying you're going to die at midnight, and you're like, oh my god, this is the last day on earth, what am I going to do? And it follows 2 people who find each other as they both receive their you're going to die today texts, and the idea of friendship, love, all this fun stuff blossoming as your life is coming to an end. And I've heard that people basically cry at this one, but at the same time, not bothered. There we have it. How many books do we have? We have 21 books. That's not bad. I also have a bag of books that I'm getting rid of anyway. But 21 books isn't too bad. It hasn't really made much space on my shelves, so I think I'm going to have to be more ruthless. But that is it for today's video. We are down to the 3rd attempt at this because it's that hot in this room that my camera has overheated again. Thank you all so much for watching. If you open that little description box right next to like and subscribe, you can go and do that as well. That would be brilliant. In the description box, you'll find a link to all my other social media channels, my Twitter and my Instagram. Go say hi on those platforms. I'm loving the interaction that I'm having on Twitter at the minute in particular. It's just great. It's a grand old time. Thank you to everyone involved in that, by the way. But yes, if you want that links, they'll take you to social media channels. I'm so tired, oh my god. Have you seen any of the books in this video that you would like me to keep, because duh, I'm getting rid of them. But thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see you all soon with another video. Bye!